And hello. Welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast. It is the Premier League show. We're back to you on a Monday. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, whatever you've been up to. It's been an extravaganza for goals in the Premier League, so I have to have an extravaganza of a team on a Monday night to cover all of this. I didn't get the memo. Everyone's in red tonight. I feel like I've got kind of a red t-shirt on underneath, so I'm kind of with you. I'm with you in spirit. But of course, I have to introduce my wonderful team this evening, and fair play for coming on because there's two Man United fans and an Everton fan off the back of a result of the weekend, but she's here. What a trooper. And she's very happy. That's why she's wearing that Accrington Stanley top, and she's going to tell you all about it. Welcome to Rebecca. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. As you just mentioned, it was the FA Cup draw. And after an extremely eventful second round match on Saturday at Accrington, in which it went to penalties thanks to a 91st minute equaliser, I think it was, for Aki. Incredible. I know this isn't the lower league show, but I just want to give a shout out to Billy Krellin, our keeper. He's on loan from Everton. 3 penalty saves, 1 in the match, 2 in the penalty shootout. And now we have just been drawn away to Liverpool, which is incredible. It'll be such a good day for Accrington, the money that will come from this, and also the fact that we are going to have players living out their dream of playing at Anfield. I don't know if anyone has seen it, but there is the greatest video of Josh Woods, our striker. As soon as Accrington's ball is drawn against Liverpool, he's straight up, he's celebrating and everything. And it is one of the greatest videos I think I have ever seen. And it's just things like that that are going to make it even more special. So, yeah, I'm very well.
Heard it here first. Accrington have beaten Liverpool. Rebecca was sure of it. So she's more sure of it than she's ever been of anything in her life. I can see it. I can see it now. And of course, it's not just Rebecca. It's the wonderful man over here. It's Mr. Senor Grimmy. How are you, Mr. Grimmy?
Buenos dias, I think is the term. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks very much, Sam. Thanks for having me on again. And yeah, looking forward to getting into all things football, and the FA Cup draws thrown up some interesting ties. One we've just discussed there with Rebecca. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Definitely. It's going to be a great evening chatting football, FA Cup draw, Premier League. We'll come to it all, and we will. But first of all, we've got to come to our wonderful chat. Our chat people are here. Of course, the man himself, Mr. Vidi Printer, as I call him, Spenny fan Chris, is here giving us latest scores from the National League South. Maidstone, good old Ben's 1-0 up at Aveley. Chelmsford 2, Boreham 0, and it's 0-0 in Serie A at Roma and Atalanta. He's just got it all. He's got it all covered. And yes, we'll touch on this when we get to Europeans. Some horrible news coming out of Serie A with regards to Eduardo Bove at the Fiorentina Inter Milan game. So yeah, we're all wishing our best, and we'll give more of that bit later on in the European section. We've got Graham. Good evening, award winners. Good evening to you, award-winning Graham. An award-winning supporter is our Graham. He's booed Grimmy, an early boo for Grimmy. I think that's in nature to the Twitter spat yesterday that he suggested you were going to go all in on Rebecca with the win. I'm sure we won't. Jen is saying Sam's out of sync with the red. Honestly, where is the red? I know. I apologise, Jen. My Morecambe shirt's in the wash. That's what it was. My Morecambe shirt is in the wash. So I do humbly apologise. Spenny fan Chris's question: Liverpool, who are they? Well, Josh isn't here, so we can say what we like tonight on Liverpool, and I'm sure we will talk Liverpool in a minute. Welcome as well to Big Daddy Z-Man. Hello, greetings from America. First time watching your show. Hope everyone is well. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoy it, and we hope you're very well as well this evening. Welcome to Sean as well. Rebecca's the rose between two thorns. Completely fair. I'll accept that. Take that one on the chin. Heather's so hyped tonight. She is so hyped tonight. Is the queen of the penalties, I think, of the weekend when we come to the Bournemouth game. And we've got our wonderful Charlotte is here as well. Evening team, hope you're good. And she is buzzing for you, Rebecca, with that FA Cup draw. There you go. Simon's here too. He's not so happy with the FA Cup draw. If you're listening on Megaphone, if you're on all the audio platforms, you can watch us on YouTube, and you'll see that Simon has a poo emoji for the FA Cup draw. So he's not so happy indeed. They're all here. It's just filtering in. Look at it. It's like the FA Cup draw. It's all happening so fast. So much to cover. The legendary Dan, our Turf Moorhouse, Mr. Dan. All do legends. Big love to you all. We love you too, Dan. Dreety's here. She's on time this week. just as Josh isn't here, just to wind him up. He's on time for me. I appreciate it, Treaty. Very appreciate it. And everybody is here. So we're all here. We've done all the introductions. Before we get into the Premier League, one thing I want to do is we've got a talking point that I want people in the chat as well to give their own. So we're going to go around the team. What is the thing in football that winds you up the most? Now, I know Rebecca had an answer pre-show. I'm not sure.
I won't mention that one.
Something in football that just winds you up. Go on, Rebecca. What's on your list?
VAR. Certain aspects of it, should we say, because it doesn't always work. I mean, something that winds me up is Everton in general, but we won't mention that. But yeah, I think my main one is just VAR and the lack of consistency, I think the word is.
It is VAR frustrating. I think a lot of people will agree with you, Rebecca. Grimmy, what grinds your gears? What in football grinds your gears?
Time wasting.
Time wasting.
Play acting and time wasting. When a player rolls off the pitch and then realizes, wait, I could get an extra minute out of this, and then rolls back on.
That is punctuality. Grimmy is a man of punctuality. He won't have it. He won't have it. Not acceptable. Not acceptable.
I've got another one.
Another one.
Rebecca's got a list of about 20 here.
She's sorted.
She's
no
ready.
Premier League tonight. Rebecca was letting it out. Go for it.
Playing out from the back and short corners.
Completely fair. I've seen it already. Shah agrees, passing out from the back. Yeah, and I've seen her speak about this with Matchday doing it in the National League. A big frustration. That's pretty fair. Mine is the one that winds me up, and it's kind of related to short corners. Not beating the first person at a corner. You know, the first defender stood there. Oh, it does my head in. Really does. Particularly when it hits them like kind of here in the chest. It's not even close to getting over the head. Oh, it drives me absolutely bonkers. It's disgusting. Makes me ill. In the chat, we've got some other ones. Kieran doesn't like attendance nerds. Fair enough. Attendance nerds. Do we know what attendance nerds are?
Is that when people just turn up for the big matches?
Possibly. Could be an attendance nerd. Well, we'll go with that. We don't have a better explanation, so that's what we're going with. Graham doesn't like inconsistent officiating, which is backed up by Sean, who just goes with referees. Referees wind me up because they're bad.
Oh, referees, right. Can I go on a quick 20-second rant?
You're welcome to. It's what we do.
So, again, not a non-league show, but I went to the Blythe Spartans game at the weekend, and they were playing Hyde United, and the referee missed 3 blatant penalties for Blythe. And I'm one that's like, even if it's 50-50, I'm kind of like, okay, I can see why he hasn't given it. But I saw 3 clear penalties and he didn't give any of them. And he even said to the manager at the end, yeah, I probably messed up on 2 of those. So I'm like, what on earth are we doing here? So yeah, it always makes me laugh though, because whenever the Premier League pundit's like, the referee is so bad, I'm like, please go watch a Northern Premier League game or a National League game. You don't know Jack. Come back to me when you watch that. Anyway,
you haven't seen a single thing. It's fair. I think everyone agrees on that point. We've all had those days where we're like, what is going on? I think Shah has raised an amazing point, a massive one that needs to be discussed. When the kiosk runs out of pies, I mean, that's absolutely fair. Absolutely fair. I mean, that's the sort of thing that will get a game abandoned for me. That's just not acceptable.
Sorry, go on, Better.
No, I was going to say, never go Boreham Wood. When we went a few seasons ago, they didn't sell pies.
Don't sell pies?
No, they didn't sell pies.
What is the word coming to? What is happening? What is happening with the world? Driti's got poor referee decisions or opposition players winding up fans. Not a fan. Simon doesn't like play acting. Really winds him up. We started it really negatively, haven't I? Now thinking at this question, I've just got everyone annoyed. I've just angered everybody. The only way is up. Yaz, thank you very much. Kieran says you should be fined a month of wages if you can't beat first man of a corner. Yeah, for me that is redonkulous, absolutely redonkulous. And Shah's that's completely fair. And final one, Big Daddy Zima says time wasting. Never liked the idea of extra time as well. In college soccer, we have time stoppage every foul, injury, out of touch. Someone go, it's just frustrating, isn't it? Absolutely, just frustrating. But there we are. We've done.
If they did stop the match every time like a player was down, they'd just be never ending. Like I know they feel like that now when you've got like 9-10 minutes added on, but if they stopped it like the clock every time someone was down and then restarted it.
It'd be crazy. It should be like rugby where they just play on and just trample over the poor bloke that's on the floor when they're doing it. Just crack on. Just get it going. But we'll kick things off because we've done well. We're 10 minutes and we haven't spoken about a Premier League game yet. We've done a fabulous introduction, but I think we're going to have to. We can't put it off any longer because the first game on our list is Liverpool 2, Manchester City 0. Of course, two Man United fans and an Everton fan, but I don't think we can get away from the fact that Liverpool played rather well. They're doing very good. Rebecca, Liverpool 2, Manchester City 0. How good were Liverpool for you?
Yeah, this bit will be said through gritted teeth, but I'll say it anyway. It could have been more for Liverpool when you look at it. The chances they had, I think, like Van Dijk hitting the post, it was like they could have had more, and I did expect it to be. It was another strong performance from them, and they just keep going up. I mean, it's one of them where they turned up against City, because sometimes you do see it with teams where like there's a team struggling and they're like, right, we can sit back a bit and we don't need to play as well as they have been, but that wasn't even a thought for Liverpool. They kept at them and they did what they had to. And I mean, like the stats show how attacking they were and how well they were able to stop City. I think it was like they had 18 shots with 7 on target in comparison to City's 8 with 2 on target. So it just shows how well Liverpool were able to control the game and how attacking they were. It is a difficult time for City, and they just can't seem to find their way back from it. And it's one of them. I don't think they've never experienced this level of like 6 losses under Pep in recent years anyway. So it's one of them. It's like they are struggling to figure out how to turn this around, but they've got Everton in a few weeks, so that could help them out. But yeah, it's a difficult time for City, but I mean, fair play to Liverpool. It's just annoying as an Everton fan.
It is indeed. They for me, they started off that game with such a high intensity and just kind of got on the front foot to the extent in 20 minutes you're thinking City could be well out of this. It's just an absolute intensity they had. Grimmy did it. I don't know what you thought. That first half was a bit more reminiscent of that kind of Klopp heavy metal, knowing that he'd get the Anfield crowd behind him, getting into City, and then slot managing the game as well as he does. How did you take the Liverpool win?
Yeah, I think again agree with everything that you guys are saying. I think that first sort of 20 minutes to half an hour, it was that sort of Klopp-esque high pressing, high intensity. Yeah, just like absolute battering their defense and, you know, doing what Liverpool used to do. But I think we've pointed out before in previous podcasts where we've said it's a little bit different with Slot, where he will have those high pressure moments or high intensity periods, but he's also able to sort of reel it back in, let them sort of recharge, and then they can go again either for another 10 minutes or in the second half or whatever. But yeah, to be honest, going into that game yesterday with the run of form that City were on, I didn't really expect any other result than Liverpool winning, as much as it pains me to say it. And somewhere Josh is leaping in the air with his fist clenched to celebrating me admitting that. But yeah, I think Liverpool were good value for the win. And to be honest, wasn't really surprised that they did win. And it's just really a case of, can anybody stop them right now? Which is a scary thing to say when we're only, a third of the way through the season, not even halfway through yet. So yeah, and for City, Rebecca said it, they've not been used to this. They've not had this sort of run probably since they were in Championship or League One back in the day, when they were a little club without money. But yeah, they'll get over it when they buy 15 new players in January and sell half the team, so it'll be fine for them, I'm sure. I'm sure Pep will cry into his £10 notes that he has cradled under his pillow somewhere and just make sure he's all right, I'm sure.
I'm sure they'll be fine. I'm sure they'll be fine overall. I don't know what you think, Rebecca. I'll come to you next on Manchester City, because obviously this is now a really poor run that they're on. They're kind of, they had, they stopped the run of losses, but they did so by chucking away a 3-0 lead at home in the Champions League, which is not kind of going to give you the confidence you were looking to do, to take away that prior to going into Anfield. They looked well second best against the Liverpool team that got amongst them, that obviously is he's been performing fantastic in the Premier League, but we'd expect City to kind of turn up. What do you think is the big issue at City? You think some of it is, it is 4 titles in a row. It is, you can't keep going at that kind of pace. You think they're reaching the end of a cycle? What do you think the issue is?
I think they've just hit a slump. I think we know the level that City can play at. I don't think it'll be a case of they've had 4 titles and they're tired now. I don't think that is the case. I genuinely just think every team has that bad spell. There is sometimes no rhyme or reason behind it, and it will just hit any team at any point. There is a lot saying that they're missing Rodri too much, but I don't think that you can base this loss on the missing one player. He is an integral part of the midfield, but it's one of them where you can't put all of this weight onto him and the injury. So I do feel as though it's just come to that point where it's now their time to get the bit of a bad spell, because we've never seen it, and City have always been the ones that you think have dodged it a bit. But I think that the pressure is building up on them with other things that can be pending behind the scenes, and then there's just a lot going on for him. And I think Pep getting rattled at the match on Sunday, I don't think that's helped. He's losing his head a bit because of what they're in, because he's not dealt with this, as we said, at City. So it's all new to him, and it's one of them. It's they've gone into panic mode after losing a few, and then they think, oh, we're going to get it back with the 3-0, and then they've let it drop. So it's they're getting too much in their heads of it, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's an odd one to see, because you don't expect City to be in this situation. I mean, they're 5th in the league in comparison to where they have been for the past 4 seasons. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, you're not used to seeing a run like this on City. You can see the odd games, see a couple of games even, and we all know that generally their kind of pattern has been good in the first half of the season, and then they come on extremely strong, but never to this extent where they look so exposed. They look so difficult in so many areas. That midfield is a problem, and we'll come to the chat because a lot of people are saying about what they think is going on with City at the minute. Big Daddy's is saying not having Rodri has obviously hurt them, but their back line's been inconsistent and no cohesion. Yeah, and that second goal, the penalty for Diaz was a calamity. Ruben Diaz kind of circling on the ball. Kyle Walker's touch was horrendous, and then Ortega was kind of left with no chance. Had to kind of stick out, and it was all very un-Manchester City like. We've also got Spenny fan Chris again pointing to Rodri. Simon reckons it's because teams have figured out if you attack City rather than sitting back, they aren't actually that good. I think it's just getting through. I think the midfield is the biggest problem there at the moment. Biggest problem. There's way too many larger gaps. I don't think they have the same legs, and not just Rodri, but I just think they don't have that same energy in that midfield. And because of that, they couldn't kind of get in the right places to get anywhere to stop the Liverpool press. And it's meaning that you've then got players that, Phil Foden hasn't scored in the Premier League this season. Yet last season, best player in the Premier League. You've got Jack Grealish trying to come back in. You've got Kevin De Bruyne. What's going on there? Absolutely no idea. Something's going on there because he's been fit for a number of weeks, barely started. Grimmy, would you agree with that? Manchester City's midfield is where a lot of the problems lie?
I mean, once Rodri's out of the 3 that they play in midfield, it's obviously going to be a big issue for them. But I also think that they do have a couple of older players now. They've obviously brought Gundogan back over the summer. They've got De Bruyne, who's I think around 31, 32 maybe, and he's obviously got injury problems galore. Obviously outside the midfield, you've got likes of Kyle Walker, who's 33, 34 now. So there is an age coming to the team. I don't think it's at that point where it's not like they've got 36, 37-year-olds up and down the squad, but these are players that have been part of the squad for 6, 7, if not more years. And probably the team just needs a bit of a refresh and a bit of younger blood coming in, a bit more energy, and players who are probably going to listen to Pep, because I think after a certain amount of years, regardless of if it's Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Alex Ferguson, after a certain amount of years, players do start to it becomes background noise to them, and the effectiveness of managers, as we've seen over the years, does become less and less efficient, I'll say, as the years go by. So I just think City need a bit of a refresh, and maybe that comes in January because they'll certainly have the money to do it. But again, I think 3 or 4 younger players in will just refresh things and probably get them back on the straight and narrow. Rodri coming back in will be a big help as well. I feel like once he's back, City will just be like, we never left sort of thing. But yeah, I do think the midfield needs a bit of refreshing. But overall, I think it's just maybe a time for this squad that's done so well over the past 6 years to get a bit of a refresh, really.
It does seem like that sort of cycle, and all teams have had it. All teams that have been sort of great in that period, and we even saw it a bit with the Liverpool team a few years ago. Remember, sort of when they had Henderson in kind of that midfield, and they were at the point, and everyone said they need a new midfield. And you know, we'll remember Grimmy, the United years, where that last Alex Ferguson team was, you know, on its heels. There was about 7 of them that all going. I know, the good old days, as we like to call them. Simon thinks Kyle Walker with his speed, he now doesn't even have that. And Big Daddy Z says we're also not seeing the classic Pep 5 seconds to win the ball back, losing possession. They lose the ball and everyone seems stuck in the mud defensively. Yeah, they do seem to be, and probably some of that's confidence as well. They're losing a bit of, you lose games, it loses confidence, and City haven't been in that scenario for a long time. But we do have to finish a little bit and say how good Liverpool were, and the fact that they are now in a very commanding position in the league. And you have to give Arne Slot undoubtedly credit for coming in and having a start that, you know, at the start of the season, I think when everyone was asking about Liverpool, they're saying we don't really know what to expect. It was a good team that Jurgen Klopp's left, but new manager, how's he going to do? And Rebecca, we have to talk about Mo Salah, I think, don't we? I mean, that first goal, the ball that he played, is he still for you the best player in the Premier League? Is that fair to put on him? I know, hard to say for you as an Everton fan, but I think we have to touch upon it.
I'm not sure. I mean, he is a very good player, especially with like all of the ongoing talks behind the scenes and all of the drama that is following him. It's one of them where to be able to keep your head down and still play as well as he can do. And I mean, he is a good player. Whether he's the best in the Prem, I'm not sure, but at the moment, I think he is. See, I'd have always argued that I thought Kevin De Bruyne was, but with the fall off of him and City, you just can't really tell. So I'll remain on fence for that one.
And so Grimmy, I'll come to you. What do you think? Now that obviously Wout Weghorst has left the Premier League, is Mo Salah now the best player?
I would have said Salah, but I mean, Amad Diallo's just tearing it up at the minute. So, you know, it's just... You'll
get clipped if you're not careful, Grimmy. We're clipped.
I know. No, but in all seriousness, I do think Salah. I think for me, it's between Salah and Palmer. At the minute, I think Salah obviously has that consistency, and Palmer just can light up a game at any given moment. But yeah, I think Salah's consistently over the past however many years he's been at Liverpool, he's probably been the best right winger of the Premier League. And to be honest, probably if he's not in the top 2, he's certainly in the top 3 best wingers we've had in the Premier League ever. I think the consistency of the guy is just phenomenal. He could have had a hat-trick yesterday. Like if he'd put those 2 chances away and the penalty, he would have had a hat-trick, which against City is no mean feat, even in the condition that they're in at the minute. But yeah, I think at the minute, I think Salah is probably just pips it for me as the best in the Premier League at the minute.
I think that's fair, and obviously, as we touched upon, and Graham said, it's still not tied down to a new contract, which is all the talk. It always just seems so crazy that there's so much furore, and everyone seems to want to be angry about something as a football fan. And so I get it; they want Liverpool want Salah to. You're thinking you're top of the league by 9 points. Just have a lovely Christmas with that. I'd be, that's a lovely time to be alive. Enjoy that. So what happens with Salah will happen.
I think that's also a good period to announce it. I think going into that business, if they somehow manage to get contracts sorted in the next couple of weeks, announcing it just before that Christmas period starts with all those fixtures back to back will be another boost them, and they can kick on with that. But whether or not it gets done or not, obviously that's
another thing. Well, even January, because then they'll be like, we're not going to do any business, but you've got Mo Salah's contract. There you go. Mo Salah signed, Van Dijk signed. Yeah. If they could get Trent as well, they wouldn't, and then they're going to be like, that's what we need. They'll be well happy. So, and Graham, the man of many puns, of course, he's slotted in well. The slot machine is paying out big time. He's a one-liner's dream for me. And Graham, I'm sure, has a book of them for the entirety of the season that we will continue to see. But But yeah, and Rebecca will like this. Announce a new Salah contract to get them beaten by Aki. There you go.
Josh Wood's hat trick pending. I'm telling you now. Bill Krellin clean sheet and Josh Wood's hat trick.
That would be a story and a half. There's no doubt about that. But so we'll move on because there was other games this weekend. It was a fabulous game of goals, and we're going to stick with Sunday. Next on the list, I think we had Chelsea, didn't we? Chelsea are another one that have snuck up there. 3-0. Chelsea did the business over Aston Villa, who dropped a little bit. I think it's kind of gone a little bit under the radar that they're now down in 12th position without a win in 5 and only one win, I think, in like their last 8 or something crazy. So actually Villa's form has been pretty poor in recent months. But Grimmy, what are you making of Chelsea so far this season and how Maresca's turned them into a bit of a team?
Yeah, I mean, watching that game against Villa early on, you could see which team had the energy in the legs and which one was sort of struggling to get up to speed. I think it's impressive, really, that Maresca's come in and done as well as he has straight away. I definitely didn't have them doing this well at any point in the season with my predictions. And I'm very fearful my predictions at the start of the season are going to end up with a big fat 0 by the end of it, looking at this table. But yeah, Chelsea have a lot of good, young, talented players, and they've got a spine. If they keep that spine together, could be a force in the next couple of seasons for like the next 5-10 years if they keep that together. You've got likes of Palmer, Fernandez, Caicedo, Jackson's now starting to hit his potential, I guess. He's on 8 Premier League goals, I think, this year. So yeah, I mean, thoroughly impressed with what they did against a Villa side who I'm surprised. I mean, again, they're only 4 points back on the top 4. So it's, again, they are in 12th, but it's only 4 points. So not to, disparage them too much. And I did think they might struggle a little bit with Europe because of, obviously going into the Champions League and the new system as well. When you play a couple more games, can put a bit of a strain on the squad. But yeah, very impressed with what Chelsea did. And to be honest, I think Villa will be all right eventually once the Champions League is over. But yeah, Chelsea were something else yesterday in terms of just battering down the hatches, really.
They did certainly did dominate the game. As we said, I agree with you. I think I said at the start of the season that I felt Villa Champions League. We saw it with Newcastle last season. You can't help but get excited about that as a fan, and it draws the players. And it's a lot. It's a lot to contend with. And they've had some big games. They had Bayern Munich, didn't they? Was it Juventus they played as well?
Yeah.
There's a lot of big momentous games in amongst difficult Premier League games, and we know now there's so many good teams. You look at the teams, 15th, 14th. We'll come on to Bournemouth in a bit. They're in 13th, and you can get turned over with them quite easily. There's people like that, and looking at Villa's results, the teams they've beaten so far this season: West Ham, Leicester, Everton. Sorry, Rebecca, Wolves, and Fulham. Say Fulham are probably the highest out of them. There's no names yet. I mean, still time to go, as you say, get themselves sorted and back in it. But for Villa, it's maybe as Gwen says, a bit of a European hangover. Chelsea will come to back over to you as well, Rebecca, on how well Chelsea have been playing. And one of the points that I see Chris has made in the chat as well. Obviously, we've all taken them over the amount of money they've spent, the ridiculous amount of players we know they have in their squad. I was looking today, and they've only used 23 of those players in the Premier League so far this season. It's the same number as Liverpool, same number as Arsenal. Puts them around mid-table. I think Southampton have used the most with 29 players. Obviously, they have the bonus of the European competition that they're in the Conference League, which is a bit of a joke, to be honest, for Chelsea, and are absolutely walking it. But it also means that they can rotate the team a little bit. But do you think he seems to be playing more of a settled team, Rebecca? And of course, if you've got Cole Palmer, you've got the wonderful Cole Palmer, who our Jen is going to go and be watching at the FA Cup with Morecambe, no doubt about it. How good are you rating Chelsea so far this season?
They've shocked me of Chelsea. I think I had them quite low down in my prediction. I think everyone did, to be honest, because of with the jokes of how many players they have. But it was going to be an interesting one. But I feel as though now, and I've read this before, they're less of the Cole Palmer team. They're now more of a full-rounded team, whereas it did seem to just be Cole Palmer was doing everything and he was like the main one, but they now seem to have settled down. They've got the team together and they are starting to show how well they can play together. And they are looking more like Chelsea than Cole Palmer FC, if that makes sense. And I have seen like quite a few things written about that. So they've shocked me, but they are doing very well so far this season.
They certainly are. And another Nicholas Jackson's been excellent for them as well. Just having a look how many he's got 7 this season. And 3 assists as well. That's nothing to sniff at. Noni Madueke scored 4 as well. They're scoring lots of goals. Defense has been. I think I've said it a few times on the pod. I still think the keeper's suspect, and I think ultimately that could be a problem when they get into the latter stages of the season, perhaps. But no one thought that they would do this well. No one thought they would do this well with all the nonsense of how many players they've got and the joke that seems to be every transfer with Chelsea. But they are performing. They are performing. And so Arsenal, we've got a question in from the chat, another talking point maybe, and say again, answer this in the chat if you want to as well. Which Premier League side are you most surprised with this season? Of course, other than Manchester City. Who wants to come in first?
I mean, there's a couple really. I mean, I'm surprised at how well Liverpool and Chelsea have done early stages. I thought Liverpool would be in around the top 4. I didn't think they'd be 9 points ahead of Arsenal with 13 games gone. But I think if you go in for like genuine surprises in who's up there, who shouldn't be, I think it's probably got to be Brighton and Forest, really. I think 4th and 6th for them is just phenomenal work so far. Yeah, I'd say like Chris Wood being the man that he is at the minute and scoring goals left, right, and centre, and holding up my fantasy team by a thread. He's doing a great job, really.
He did. I love Chris Wood. I had to take him out last week, Grimmy, but I did put João Pedro in when he had that brilliant week. So, but I'm not saying it's not over for Chris Wood. That love affair will be rekindled. I can see it. There's opportunities coming up. I can see it. Absolutely. Chris Wood is not done. It's been for Chris as Brighton as well. Anybody different for you, Rebecca? Anybody who's shocked and surprised you?
I like Forest. They've been well. I think Fulham have as well for me. I don't know how well they'd be able to mix in the signings and everything, and they've been a dangerous team to play against. And I think Ipswich as well. Like, I know it sounds silly because they are still in the relegation, but there's one win and they're out. And I feel as though it's a tight relegation battle near the bottom already. And I do feel as though some of the points and the wins that Ipswich are and can pick up, they have been a bit of a shock.
Yes, fair. Good teams, good explanations. And Spenny fan Chris reckons Brentford as well. They're 8th. Brentford as well, yeah, which we'll go into at the end. We're not going to go Brentford too much because we've done Brentford a bit, but best home record in the Premier League. I mean, that's crazy. We're now this far in the season and still Brentford are doing bits and have played some good teams at home as well. So really good for Brentford. Next on the list, I'm checking what's my list said next on the list. I can't remember. Can you remember what we're talking about next? I've got a feeling it's Bournemouth, but I just want to check. Let's do Bournemouth.
He's like dodging the bullet.
At this point, I'm like, just get it over with.
Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming like a lovely Sunday roast. You have to wait. Have to wait for it to marinate. So yes, we had Wolves 2, Bournemouth 4. Bournemouth 4. We obviously spoke a lot about Wolves last week, Rebecca. We spoke a lot about Wolves, but 3 penalties for Bournemouth, 3 penalties for Kluivert, a record hat-trick of penalties, 3 penalty assists, if you can call it that. So it was funny, I find, with the penalty assists, because some people give it as an assist and some don't, but Evan Nilsson won all 3 penalties, and they put it away. Bournemouth needed that victory, and they're starting to get penalties. So, I'm sure Heather will comment on that in the chat, because that was a running joke last season. They didn't get any. But what did you make of Wolves 2, Bournemouth 4?
Yeah, it was a good one for Bournemouth, as we've said. Wolves had started picking up in form and they had seemed to have got the defence sorted, but it just all fell to pieces. I mean, there's not much you can do when it is 3 penalties, but they could have done with Bill Krellin in this side. That's all I can say. He saved 3 at Aki. Anyway, I can just get that in. No, but a very positive performance for Bournemouth, as we've said. Like, they needed that, and they have been struggling a bit recently, and for them to be able to get a solid win, like, yeah, you can joke it's 4 penalties, but they've still scored 4 goals, which it's been iffy for Bournemouth this season. But I mean, they're picking up in form. I think it's 2 wins in the last 5, so it's not. They're on the up and just keep scoring. If they keep getting penalties, then that's great for them. But I feel as though a big win like this will get confidence going, and they'll be getting more points soon. And I think Heather will be very glad with that.
Very happy, very happy. And this attacking football approach is certainly paying dividends for their goals tally, that is for sure. She says it's an absolute mental match. Little bit hoarse today, struggling. Graham says first ever Premier League penalty hat-trick. And Heather said, I think it was about 609 days without a penalty. Wow. Like London buses, you get one and it flies across. I think am I right in saying that's 5 penalties they've had now this season? Bournemouth have had more penalties than everybody else. It's like it's evening out over the seasons. Like they're trying to play catch up at the moment, and did the business. But I do want to touch on, I don't know if any of you saw this, the celebration behind the goal from the Wolves fan that was trying to put off the penalty taker, shall we say. I don't know if either of you caught that, where his second attempt was, I'll take my top off, and the third attempt was he took his trousers off as well. Yeah. And then there must have been a point when Kluivert scored the third penalty, he's like, we've just conceded a goal, we're 4-2 down, this bloke's broken history, and I'm stood here in my pants.
Anything to miss the penalty, man. Anything to miss the penalty.
The things we do for our clubs. The things we do for our clubs. But it puts Justin Kluivert on 5. So Grimmy, they've looked a lot more. They've looked an attacking threat whenever I watched Bournemouth this season. They had a couple of losses off the back of some really good results, but I've always kind of. They're worrying people, I think. Again, as you said, 13th in the table, but because of how tight it is, that's not really, that can change in an instant. A lot of goals for them. So how are you thinking Bournemouth this season? Are you liking Iraola and his attacking style?
Yeah, I mean, anytime I've watched Bournemouth, whether it was this season or last year, I've always found them very enjoyable to watch. They always seem to have a threat going forward. I think last time I was on, or maybe the time before that, it was when they played Arsenal, and Arsenal had gone down to 10 men early, and Bournemouth managed to nick that one in the end. And again, I watched pretty much that whole game, and just I think the thing I like about Bournemouth is the fluidity of their attacks. They don't seem to just stop and pass the ball around a million times. They are very quick forward, and obviously players like Kluivert and Evanilson and people like that, and it's easy to see how. But no, I think Bournemouth are almost like a Brentford at this point, a solid mid-table team, and again with a couple of big results here or there and a bit of consistency, they could push top 10. But it's like you say, I mean, one win or a couple of wins away from being above the likes of Newcastle and Villa is a fantastic fantastic season overall for Bournemouth, I would say, if they were to do that. But yeah, I mean, a great start to the season for them, and I'm sure they'll get some big scalps along the way towards the back end of the season and take it close to the top 10, I would imagine.
I would think so. They say we already highlighted their brilliant wins already so far this season, and Wolves had they're down there, but they put a bit of a run together recently. Last week we were lapping them up for how good they kind of were attacking wise, and as Heather calls it, whereas it is the Gary O'Neill derby, as it's known for Bournemouth fans, and a really good victory for Bournemouth. Lots of goals going in, and again, say Wolves. I won't come to Rebecca because we spoke about Wolves last week. I'll come back to you, Grimmy, on Wolves. Is it a case of attacking quite good, defensive really, really not very good? Is it that simple?
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at like the league table and you see Wolves' goals against and for, it's 22-4 and 32 against. And that's double what Crystal Palace have got. I mean, it's way more than what Southampton have got in terms of goals scored, and 32 is the highest in the league. So, yeah, I think they're going to be one of those teams that if they can somehow sort out that defense, they'll be fine. But of course, leakier than a dodgy tap at the minute. So, and of course, giving away free penalties doesn't exactly help your defensive cause, really. And I think Gary O'Neill said it in the interview after the match, where he was like, it's two of those penalties were totally daft because we did back passes when we could have played it forward and kept it away from danger in our box. And yeah, it's one of those things where they've obviously got the attacking talent up front. I mean, I rate Kuna quite highly. Even when he was at Madrid, Atletico Madrid, I thought he was quite a good player. And coming to Wolves, I thought that was a great get for them. And I think through the course of the season, they'll be fine. I think they're better than the teams around them. And I think they'll like they've done the past 4 games before this one. I think they'll just slowly start to creep up and keep themselves out of danger.
This is it. I think Wolves will still be okay. And I think that they're not the only one to have been done by Bournemouth this season. So I think there's lots to be good about. Sorry, Rebecca. I feel like I can't say anything because Everton have done it first. Everton have done it.
And it's fine. I just get PTSD from the Villa match that's already been mentioned and the Bournemouth match because they were the 2-0ers to get beat 3-2. They just haunt me.
That was. It had also comments as well. Yeah, Salah scrapping with the Wolves fans at half time, as well as giving away 2 penalties. It's not a great afternoon for him either. And Sean says, of course, yes, happy birthday to our very own Hannah. Hannah's birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Hannah. Very happy it came with a victory for Manchester United at the weekend for you as well. That's the best we could do, the best that you wanted. And Graham says the absolute So Rebecca podcast. Yeah, it's tricky, but a very good win for Bournemouth. Very good win. We're almost there, Rebecca. There's one more to cover, and then we will get to it. Don't worry, it's going to happen. But we're going back to Saturday evening, and we're going back to a West Ham team that had beaten Newcastle at St James's Park on Monday, and then turned up at home against Arsenal. Were 4-0 down in absolute no time whatsoever. Rebecca, Arsenal beating West Ham 5-2. Martin Odegaard's back. They had a really good result in midweek against Sporting as well. How did you rate that performance? And does it? And do you think that Arsenal can still get back into this title race?
I'll be honest, I was gutted. I missed the whole lot first half because the Aki match went to extra time and penalty. Well, I missed all the goals. I'm sat there for the second half. I was like, right, if it carries on like it was in first half, I'm in for a treat here, and it didn't. But no, incredible first half of football I've seen from the highlights. Never expected heading into a West Ham and Arsenal match that there'd be 7 goals in the first half with 4 goals in 6 minutes between both sides. It like West Ham to hit back with 2 quick goals in 2 minutes. I thought, like, we're on for it. They didn't let it stop them. Like, yeah, you're 4-0 down, but to get 2 back, you're still in the match. I mean, if they were to draw 4-4, I mean, round of applause to West Ham, I think that'd be an incredible comeback. But they are against a very difficult Arsenal side. And as you said, like, Martin Odegaard being back is huge for Arsenal. He's a great player, and to have him back in the side is, like, he is a very positive one to have. But it was just, I don't know what I expected to come from that one, because West Ham have been pushing a bit, but they are very up and down in form. I do really hope Arsenal can push for the title. We just need someone to challenge Liverpool. Get it all excited again before we're able to just cut Liverpool off and they become...
Come on, Brighton. Come on, Brighton.
Brighton, Forest, anyone, just go for it. We don't care at this point. But no, I mean, fair play to Arsenal. 5-2. It's a great win for them, and it was needed to keep them in touching distance of Liverpool, but isn't it like 9 points now between them? So if we can beat Liverpool on Saturday, then we'll be able to help out Arsenal.
But steady on.
Don't know if that's going to happen.
Hey, steady.
You've just called an Everton and an Accrington win over Liverpool in the next 4 weeks a week. You can only have one.
Weirder things have happened, that's all I can say.
If Everton win that game, oh my God.
We didn't win for 3 months last season and went on to win Merseyside Derby.
Jesus.
Although we've not scored since October, so that'll be interesting.
Is it at Liverpool or is it Everton?
It's at Everton.
Everton. Okay.
Yeah, it's not looking.
You never know.
Football is football. You never know. You believe. If you believe, you can achieve. That's what Di should tell him. Believe and you can achieve.
God knows what he's telling him.
Who knows? But Arsenal certainly need to start believing off the back of the win against Forest as well. That's 2 now on the trot. They face Ruben Amorim's Manchester United, of course, on Wednesday, Grimmy, and just as they've come into some nice form, that's lovely. But Bukayo Saka as well. He's hit 10 assists so far this season. 5 goals as well. And he's done a lot of that without Odegaard. But as we said, Odegaard's kind of knitting the stuff together. Where are you rating how good Saka's performances have been so far this season? He's becoming their talisman almost.
Yeah, I mean, he's becoming the guy. If he's out the team, you're thinking that Arsenal aren't going to pick anything up that weekend. I mean, I think it was the Spurs game or whichever London derby it was they were playing in the other week when Saka was questionable. And Arsenal fans were thinking, if he's not in, we're not gonna get anything. And then he played, and it was like, yes. All of a sudden, it was, the spirits were up. Sort of like a Bruno for us, where Fernandes is out the team. We're thinking, who the hell is going to create one decent chance? Never mind anything else. So, but yeah, Saka each season seems to be going up another step, and he's up there. I think if he has better goal outputs season by season, I think he'll be up there long term as probably one of the best wingers we see in the Premier League. Because again, assist-wise, 10 assists already in a season is crazy, really, when you think about we're only 13 games into a season. And Arsenal haven't exactly been at the best. Again, the past 6 games, they've had 2 losses and 2 draws in there. So they've not exactly been hitting a fine frame of form. So him doing what he did on Saturday and what he seems to be doing these early stages could only be a good thing for them, really.
Certainly is, and they're going to need him. They're going to need him if they're going to drag their way back in. This is 2 players no one can hate, Saka and Son. They're both too adorable. I will say I do remember Son diving at Old Trafford the other year.
Let's not, yeah. Son's got a sketchy history at Old Trafford with some soft landings on the turf. Let's leave that one there.
That's one of those. If you have a memory, you have a memory. I do like Son as a player, but yeah,
Saka might be different after Wednesday.
Yeah, if Saka does the same thing, then they're both level again. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday. We'll see what happens. Graham says Saka's always questionable. Always seems to be carrying an injury. His substitution limp is Premier League heritage, as Jose Mourinho would say. He does get through the Premier League games though. Doesn't miss a lot. I know he missed 1 or 2 in last week, but he does. For me, if they've won the game and he's off and he does that, I don't think it's a big thing. It's kind of just rested him up. He plays so many games. He's played so many games for such a young footballer as well. Let's not forget he's been in international tournaments as well consecutively. He's played in the last three for England. I don't know. How old is Saka now? We're talking 20...
4 maybe.
Is he that old now? It says, but he seems like he's been around for a while. But I know he broke through when he was very young. So he's been playing a lot of football.
2001 he was born, so he's 23.
23. There you go. So that's quite a lot of football already for him.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Arsenal need something. They need a run. They've got Manchester United. Then they've got Fulham away and Everton. Sorry, Rebecca. Carry on the thing. It's everywhere I look. You're there. Everton,
honestly,
you're just around every corner.
Don't look at our run of fixtures.
I'm going to look at it now.
It got brought up in the commentary yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, it's not pretty."
Lord.
The only one we've got is Wednesday Wolves that we could get something from, but
that is hideous. I think that's the entire top 10. If I look at it.
What's even funnier is ignore the Wolves one. Our next 4 fixtures spell out ha ha.
You have.
Not that we're laughing at Everton in their play at the minute or anything.
Of course we're not. So Everton's run. I know we're about to get onto Everton in a minute, but we have to as we brought it up. So Wolves at home, then Liverpool at home, Arsenal away. They're 4th. Chelsea at home, Manchester City away, Nottingham Forest at home, playing very well. Bournemouth away, Aston Villa at home, Tottenham at home, Brighton away.
Get David Moyes back. That's what I say.
Best of luck.
The thing is,
this is just going to be my go-to thing. I'm not going to be known for the point anymore. It's just whenever anyone mentions Everton, it's just...
they'll not win any of those games, but then randomly they'll beat City 1-0 on a random rainy night and just somehow beat City, and then that'll be it. And Dyche keeps his job for another 2 months.
This is it. It could happen. As everybody says, it could happen. Graham says your foot should spell out "Sorry, Rebecca," in who you play. And yeah, massive news for our Ben: 2-0 to Maidstone. 2-0 to Maidstone. Up the stones. Up the stones, indeed. So we can't put it off any longer. It is, of course, at the weekend. New manager, first time in the Premier League at Old Trafford. Ruben Amorim. Manchester United 4, Everton 0. Do I let Rebecca get her off her chest and get the frustration? I think we should before we get.
This is the main event. This is what everyone's been waiting for.
Before we get the joy of going. Go on then, Rebecca. What happened? Tell me what happened.
I don't even know what to say at this point. The fact that United nearly scored from our corner just sums everything up, I think. Or you may have actually scored from our corner. I can't actually remember now. I think that just sums up what Everton are at the minute. And it will be a difficult match heading into it. New manager bounce at Old Trafford. It's always like a difficult place to go. But we've done it before where we can get a draw. So I was thinking, right, this could either be 0-0 or it's the first time we'll score since October. How wrong was I? We did have a few chances. Calvert-Lewin's diving header, which went straight to Onana. And then we also had Beto taking the ball around Onana and then hit the side netting, which again sums up our season. Why on earth we left Rashford unmarked at the edge of the box baffles me. Like, we have very strong and tall centre-backs. We also have decent players that can just annoy Rashford and stand with him just to stop that shot from coming. But did we? No. I don't even know what to say at this point. It's just negative all the time with Everton, I think. The deflection off Jared helped. Took it away from Pickford, and I think it has been given to Rashford, but it could well be a Jared Brantwaite own goal for all I know. And then the second one, why on earth we're playing out from the back? Again, don't understand, because we passed it back anyway. So it went from Pickford to Doucouré to Jared to Diallo, to Fernandes, to Xerxes, and you scored. And it's like, how does that work? It's mad. I stopped making notes after the first 2 goals because they annoyed me too much, so you two can cover the next 2. I think, but to be honest, when we're 2-0 down, I'm thinking, right, we get one back before half-time, we will be okay. We're still in it, whether we get a draw or at least we've tried and we've, challenged you a bit. But it's Everton and we never do anything easy. We just couldn't get into it, and the way we're playing just isn't working, and it is so frustrating. It is boring now as an Everton fan. I'm not going to swear, I'll change the wording. It's same poo, different day at Everton, which I think is that just sums it up. We need a change, and we want it as soon as possible, because, as we've already said, our next run of fixtures are horrendous for a very, very struggling Everton side that we're struggling to string passes together. We've not scored since October, and it is going to be a very, very difficult time for us. We're being dragged straight back into the relegation battle, which we were hoping to somehow avoid this season, but Ipswich are 3 points behind. They get 1 win, we're straight back in it, and that is how tight it is at the bottom yet again. We need the new owners in as soon as possible, as soon as the reign changes can be made, and they will be made. We hope anyway. But at the moment, you've got Mashiri and the board just with their feet up, just letting it ride, because there's nothing they can do. Technically, it's not their club anymore, and it's going to be a few more weeks until the new owners are in. So it's like they're just leaving it to see. But Wednesday is a make or break for us. We need a win. We need the 3 points. But the way we're playing, the way that things are being dealt with, it is now seeing Goodison, there's tickets available for Wednesday. There are never matches at Goodison for a Premier League match that you can get 2 days before. We sell out every Premier League match, and it has been that case for seasons. especially this one being the last season at Goodison, it is impossible to even get a ticket. So for there to still be thousands of tickets available just shows to the extent that this is affecting the fans, and the fans just don't want to sit through it. And I can't blame them, because it's hard to watch. And the away end at United showed it. I think it was like half an hour from the end, it was near enough empty. And we need a change as soon as possible, because it's hard on the fans yet again. And I know it's always like the same every season, and I've had this rant many, many, many times, and I do apologise for it, but it's just at the point where it's not enjoyable, and that should never be the case when it comes to your own club and when it comes to trying to watch football. And it is hard. Like, we've just lost what we know as Everton, and it is scary to think we are coming up to one of the most important times of the season. We're not scoring, we're not winning, we're not making any impact on the league. We're still stuck near the bottom, and nothing's happening, nothing's changing, and we're still left in limbo with the ownership. There's now rumours circulating online that there's unrest between Dyche and some of the players. And it's not nice, and it's just, I don't even know, it is what it is at the end of the day. I think that's the only way you can wrap it up. But yeah, fair play to United.
It's yeah, from an Everton perspective, it's not looking good. It's off the back of, say, you were 2-0 draws, but again, as you said, boring, kind of turgid, not a lot happening, not scoring goals. The chat have kind of had there say, Graham has said, definitely need the new owners in ready for the January window. You need players that are going to be up for the fight. Simon says it would be a disaster if Everton a championship team in their new stadium. Spenny fan Chris is more positive for you, Rebecca. He says there's 5 worse teams than Everton, Rebecca. 5 worse teams. That's more than enough to stay up. That's more than enough. It does look difficult. Does look difficult for Everton. You say you covered the first 2 goals. For me, the third goal from an Everton perspective was a kind of a real straight after half time. You think one thing is, okay, get your shape right, get this, that, and the other. And Mikalenko was on God knows where he was in the middle of the pit, and suddenly, I think it was Ahmad, wasn't it? Had the entirety of the right-hand pitch. And we're used to, Grim will tell, we're used to Old Trafford we don't get space like that. That doesn't happen. That doesn't, there's never that thing. And it was just so open, wasn't it? So open from an Everton perspective. So
I think this third goal came from our kickoff. We kicked off, I think it went to Pickford, and then that happened. So, yeah.
So, I do have a quick question just before we go into the United side of it, because I know we're looking forward to that part, Sam, and I do wonder from an Everton perspective. Obviously, I know a lot of Everton fans are calling for Dyche to go, and that probably will happen, like you say, when the new owners come in. Is there a particular person you'd want to take over? Like, because again, there's certain names that are out there which I think would fit the bill, but obviously having Everton fan direct, it's kind of wondering what your perspective on it is.
I mean, anyone that can do the job for me, I really don't care. As long as we don't get Gareth Southgate, that is the only person, no offence to him, I do not want. Yeah. He was able to make the England players play in a way that I've never seen some of them players play before. And they are some world-class players. So imagine what he'd do with Everton. Don't want to think about it. With getting Roma owners, there are a lot of links with ex-Roma managers or a few managers that are abroad, because they don't take any messing when it comes to managers, the Friedkin group. I think you see it weekly. Roma, they've got another manager being sacked. I mean, if we were able to get David Moyes, I'd be happy to have him back at Everton. I mean, look at what he did with West Ham. And I feel as though coming back to Everton. But we're always going to have the same issue of it's an inherited team. So no matter what happens now, we've got different players from many, many, many managers. And I think it's like Dyche has made that comment of it's an inherited team, but he's had us for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So
which I get what you're saying with that, but also I think in Dyche's sort of corner a little bit, playing devil's advocate, is has he had money to spend to get? Has he been able to get rid of those players and bring new players in? Because I know FFP has obviously been a big thing for Everton, but again, I'm not saying Dyche has done a good job of what he's had. Like, I'm not saying that at all. Like, before Rebecca tries to attack me.
No, I get it.
I just want to, but like, I do think Everton have created the owner machinery, is it? Created a rod on his own back with the spending he had on what he spent it on.
Yeah.
And then obviously they've just been stuck in the cycle for 2-3 seasons now of just, it's been hard to watch even as a United fan just to see Everton struggling, because again, I'm used to seeing them being like top 7, fighting for European places, and thinking of the yesteryear of Moyes and co. I think Moyes is probably the right guy to bring back, because he'd bring a feel good factor back, I think, and fans would like Moyes back as well. But obviously, we'll see what happens.
He also understands Everton, and I feel like any manager that comes in, you've got that to battle with, because like Everton fans, we are a bunch of nutters, and I think we'll all agree with that. Like, I don't think you'll ever meet you won't meet many fan bases like Everton, and like wearing the badge and what that means to every single fan that has ever walked into the ground and everyone around the world. And it's like Moyes understands what it takes to be an Everton manager. He understands what it means to wear the badge on the shirt, and I feel as though that'll be a really great thing to have back, because I feel like that has been lost. And in terms of like when you're saying about players we've like spent money on over the years, this season we've got a lot of loans but then we've also done trades with Villa for like an FFP one. So we got rid of Lewis Dobbin but got Timmy Rabuman, and then it's like we've just got a lot of loans. Jake O'Brien, I think we bought, but then it's also like you look back, we spent 20 mil on Neil Maupay. We also then ended up getting rid of Luca Dean because of the Rafa Benitez era, which I don't know why we ever got him as a manager, but there was unrest with that, so we lost our greatest ever left back. And we all know how much I love Mikalenko, but I will openly say that Luca Dean has been our best left back since Leighton Baines as well. And it's like,
I was going to say since Leighton Baines. I'd say Leighton Baines is.
Yeah, since Leighton Baines, yeah.
Just for his haircuts alone, to be fair. But
no, you can't ever forget Leighton Baines. But it is a case of we have been limited to what we can buy, but we have got rid of quite a few. But then in summer, we didn't aim to try and get a striker in on loan. We've ended up with players that they are needed, but not at the same time, because it's like we've got 3 for the same position, but we've only got 1 left back at the club in Mikalenko. Mm-hmm. We've got Calvert-Lewin and Beto up front, in which you can't bench both of them, even though neither of them are performing very well, but we don't have the option of benching both of them to try and like give them the kick to get back playing, because we just don't have anyone. We've sold our under-21 strikers in the likes of Tom Cannon, Nathan Broadhead and Lewis Dobbin, so we are very limited, and we can't really be bringing up from the under-21s because the target on their back would be massive now. Mm-hmm. It's like if we're to lose and they miss something, or like because of how toxic it has become at Everton, you can't put like Charlie Whittaker in the face of that, because it could like break him.
Yeah.
It is difficult. It's difficult, but the chatter behind you, Rebecca, the chatter giving you hope. Driti is the most positive person ever in the world. Driti is here to tell you it's going to be all right. I really hope Everton will stay in the Prem. The fan base is honestly class. I agree. I think Moyes could really pull something together there. He understands the club. He gets it. It would galvanise everything. Heather says Graham Potter is available. I think Potter's just waiting though, isn't he? Like, I think he's quite happy to. I think I'd be surprised, but things happen. That wouldn't happen. Simon says Big Sam's available, isn't he? I'm not available. I'm nailed to the mast. I'm an Absolute Football Podcast till I die. And Sam Allardyce. Sorry. This new Big Sam Allardyce. That's who you were talking about.
We've been there and done that. I ain't doing that again.
I think it's been a while since Big Sam's been in a job, isn't it? I don't know if he's He
was there for Leeds, wasn't
he? Yeah, he was. He was indeed. And so, yes, we'll move on to the other side of the coin, shall we? We'll let Grimmy bask. I'll join him a little bit in the fact that there's a new manager, there's a new feeling, there's a new hope, there's goals, there's Amad Diallo. Grimmy, Manchester United. How did that one make you feel?
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful, to quote the slogan of our podcast. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to get too over hyperbolic about it because, again, no offense, it was Everton. If this was like an Arsenal and we won 4-0 against Arsenal, I would be doing cartwheels right now. But I have to temper my expectations a little bit because if there was a team in the league right now that I would have, other than Southampton, that I would have picked for this game to be Amorim's first home game, it's probably Everton. Not to dig in too much to Rebecca or anything like that.
No, it's fine. But I like the positivity that you two are bringing after my little like downer.
Yeah. Someone's got to do a little bit of positivity at least. But again, for a first home game from in the Premier League, it couldn't have gone much better, I don't think. Everton started off quite bright, I think, the first 20 minutes, and they had a couple of chances. I mean, Beto had that one where he took it around the keeper. It was a bit of a tighter angle than I was expecting him to have, so he obviously put that wide. And then there was the other one which he put into Rose Ed, which we'll not talk about too long. Because again, I thought that one he was putting it top corner, and it was like top corner of the stadium, but never mind.
It ended up back at Goodison.
Yeah, exactly. We're still waiting for it to land. But then obviously once things settled down and we got a foot on the ball and we started playing our way, again, it was the interlinking passes, the quick 2-1-2s and everything like that. And we just had this fluidity that I haven't seen. And there was an interesting stat that came up yesterday that it was the first time we'd won 4-0, I think, since, I'm trying to remember if it was Solskjaer, maybe, because we didn't get that many goals under Ten Hag in a single game, I don't think, or that much of a difference of 4 goals difference in a game. So for Amorim to come in and do that straight away says a lot about the guy, and I think it says a lot about our attacking players maybe under this new regime are feeling a little bit more comfortable and at ease under him. And of course, my man of the moment at the minute is Diallo. I mean, he created 2 of the goals by pressing high and making on counting on those Everton mistakes, and yeah, just couldn't be more pleased. And now we're going to go into a game against Arsenal and probably get battered and then back to square one again. But hey, let's enjoy the 4-0 while we've got it.
Enjoy the moment. I think as I've seen some fans say, with Amorim, with the first couple of interviews, is we're ready to get hurt again. We're ready to get hurt again. It was just so.
Yeah, but that's the thing with Amorim is there's a charisma there and there's this positivity, and he's open and honest about everything. He's not like hiding behind excuses saying it's going to take time for us to get where we want to be, but I know I can do it. It's just going to take a bit of time. And I think when there is that honesty there for the manager, I think most fans of most clubs, when the manager is being open and honest like that, they'll get behind him and they'll back him. Obviously, if he goes and loses 10 games in a row, becomes a different conversation. I'm looking at you, Pep Guardiola, because you're only 4 away from it. But I digress. Sorry, City fans, I had to get that little dig in there. But with Amorim, it does feel like, even in that Ipswich game, there was a couple of moments of play where you could see what he was trying to build into the squad. Obviously, we weren't necessarily able to do that over 90 minutes, but there were a couple of 5-minute passages where we looked fairly comfortable on the ball and were able to create a couple of chances. Even more so on the Thursday game in the Europa League when we came from behind. And that's the other thing is Højlund scoring 2, Xerxes scoring 2, Rashford scoring 1.5, I'll say, because I'm not sure if the first goal should have been given to him. But again, strikers scoring exactly. But strikers scoring goals is something we've not seen for a while at Old Trafford. So if Amorim can even just do that, we've got a fighting chance in any game. So yeah, and if dare I say, if we win on Wednesday, we're 3 points behind Arsenal and Chelsea. Dare I say it, Sam? Dare I say it?
No, it's this hope of. I always feel like I want to temper my beliefs and my expectations, because we all know it's a new manager and we all know that can have an impact, and we all know there's something very new in terms of style. So I would imagine it's probably difficult for opposition to work out as well, because the one thing you can kind of guarantee with Manchester United and Ten Hag, everyone knew what the bloody hell we were doing. It was pretty obvious, and it was pretty easy to stop. That was the big issue. And now it's a little bit more unpredictable because we're trying to learn it as well. So they're probably looking at what Amorim was doing under Sporting, and it's not the same because our players are not adapt to that system yet. He's got different players that do different things. And the other thing as well is he's played kind of 3 completely different teams in the 3 games that he's had. So we've seen some massive rotation. As you said, Højlund in midweek. You've got Xerxes this week. You had Mainu and Casemiro. And then in midweek, I think he's played Bruno there. He's had Ericsson in there. There's been a complete mix of players. He's used pretty much everybody so far. And he's got, and one thing United have at the minute is we've finally got lots of players available that have been away from injuries. There's lots of things going into that melting pot. But it was nice, to have a comfortable victory for his first win on the Premier League. And just nice to. He needs results. Early on, we just want to get him some results to give the comps to breathe, to let him do what he needs to do without getting that inevitable Man United media train stress on his back. As you said, Arsenal, it could well go wrong on Wednesday, and it may. I never want to lose a game, and of course, I do not want to lose this game. I want to beat Arsenal. I'd love to beat Arsenal. But you do feel it would temper expectations a bit in terms of where we actually are. Because if we go and beat Arsenal, all of a sudden it's going to be like, United are back in it. It's a title race. So all this nonsense will be actually just let the man do his thing. And I like the fact in his interviews, they're trying to sort of push him for, what's the target? Is it top 4? Is it this? And he said, we just need to improve performances, get results while we're doing it. And we'll worry about that. That will take care of itself. Yeah. And I will be judged on it. But right now, I've been here for a week. Let me manage. Let me do my job.
Yeah.
So the question is, with that kind of happening, with sort of Arsenal and that on the horizon, where do you see this December going, Grimmy? Do you think it's going to be up and down? Do you think it's going to it's just going to be a ride that we have to kind of see, and that it will stabilize towards the back end of the season, perhaps?
Title challenge every day of the week. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like this next month it's not exactly an easy run of fixtures when you've got Arsenal next, of course. You've got Forest next weekend, who, again, they're not exactly a pushover team like they were last season. City after that, quarterfinal with Spurs, Bournemouth as well. Like, it's not going to be an easy month. I think there will be ups and downs, but it's nice to have some ups because it's not felt like we've had some ups for a while. So even if, say, for example, if we go and lose to Arsenal Wednesday, if we bounce back with a win against Forest, it's kind of like, okay, that's something we haven't seen from this team, is a bit of a bounce back ability. Because again, something we used to always pride ourselves on as United fans is if we lost at the weekend, we knew either the midweek game or the week after we were going to bounce back and probably win 3-0 because we just had that mentality of we're not going to lose 2-3 in a row. Obviously, that's gone far and away over the past 11 years or so, but that's another conversation for another day. But yeah, I think there will be some ups and downs. Of course, if we beat Arsenal, then I can almost guarantee we'll somehow muck up against Forest. But yeah, I think if we can continue to steady the ship as we have done with this past week and with what we've done when Ruud was temporary manager, I think we'll be in a good spot. And honestly, I don't think top 4 is out of the question, because I do think that when you look at the table, of course, we're only a few points back on Brighton, I think it is. Yeah, we're like 4 points back on Brighton. Again, a bit of consistency in that second half of the year, whilst we're having sort of this bedding in with Amorim at the minute. There's no reason why we can't get certainly top 6, if not top 4, I think. Because I think the squad's good enough. I think the squad is good enough.
This is what I mean. There are players that are starting to, are reacting, or that they're getting something different out of. That if we can get a structure right, and as the criticism of Ten Hag was the style, what's going on, and it's clear Amorim has a way of playing, and the table is so bonkers this year. We're not in a situation like last year where we were pretty sure by this point that City, Arsenal, Liverpool were miles ahead of everybody else, and Villa were knocking on the door a little bit and stuff, and we thought Villa would be difficult to knock off there. You still have people like teams like Tottenham and Newcastle around there for a bit last season, but this season is just very different. So you've got this crazy situation City are in. We don't know how that's going to sort of turn out. Can that continue? Could that be further? Could they struggle for the top 4? That's a big question to be posing, I think, even yet for them, but would love it to happen. But do we know? Arsenal maybe now back on an upturn, so you think, okay, they're pretty I think they're pretty safe for a top 4. But then, I agree with you. It's up for grabs. Can Chelsea keep this going all season? Will Brighton maintain this kind of run? You've got Nottingham Forest, who've already seen a sort of a little bit of dip and what's going on. So there's lots of questions that give you hope as a United fan that the season's not over, and that's what I think. Ineos felt they had to move. They had to move because the way it was going, the season would have been over. We'd have got to Christmas and we would be just drifting and drifting. And we may get to that position. We've got some very, very difficult games coming up. Arsenal away, informed Forest. We don't know what Manchester City will be like in a few weeks' time at the Etihad. And then we've got Bournemouth at home, which wasn't a very successful result for us last season. And challenges that are on the horizon. But it's nice to say it looks a little bit more positive. A little bit more positive.
Tune in next week when it'll be the total opposite.
Tune in next week on Wednesday night. Catch me and Grimmy on Twitter, absolutely destroying the performance against Arsenal. But
I'll be the happy one.
We'll be the happy one. And Graham says, of course, the use of Grimmy's bounce back ability, one of football's greatest words. And we will have a question for Rebecca before we go to the Premier League table. What's your thoughts? Obviously, Everton's Ashley Young plays Peterborough's Tyler. He's got a father-son battle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that. I love
Ashley Young that old?
He's 38.
Yeah.
Good God.
Everton I saw today, they've got the highest average age in the Premier League.
I mean, you had our two right-backs. You had our two right-backs together. You've Ashley Young and Seamus Coleman.
Good God. Yeah.
I mean, the fact that it's going to be a father versus son, it just shows what the FA Cup's about, and it shows just how exciting it can be. It gives players the dreams of being able to play against like their son or their father in a match, and to say that they're both gonna or could be playing at Goodison in a match against each other will be like a great talking point in the family. It'll also be a case of who do they support. I'd like to know that. Like, if Ashley Young is watching, which I know it wouldn't be, who is the family?
Hi, Ashley.
Yeah. But I want to know who they'd support. Would they go for Ashley Young or would they go for Tyler?
You've got to go with the kid, haven't you? Got to support the kid first. I think it's got to be the way they'll go. It's tough. It's a difficult. I think it will be one of those cases, Rebecca, where football is the winner. Football is the winner.
As Ashley Young slide tackles him.
Ashley Young puts his son into the advertising hoardings. Yeah, that would be a moment. That would certainly be a moment. And what I will do while we're doing this, let's get rid of that little logo in the corner so we can see the full table.
You can cover up that top one if you want.
That's true. That is true. Can we get rid of it? Grant says, look at those beautiful graphics. The graphics are good. The table, not so much. But the graphics are there. We'll go through these other games that we didn't cover. Obviously, Brighton won, Southampton won. That was on Friday night. A good result for Southampton. They need a lot more points than the one, but away at Brighton, really good. Quick one on anybody see the penalty? Not the penalty, sorry, the disallowed goal for Southampton.
Yeah, I saw it was the Armstrong went to put his head backwards to try and head it, didn't he? And he said he was interfering with play. I think that was the right decision because he was right next to it, and he was right next to the defender as well. So for me, I think that was the right call.
I disagree, just to be controversial.
Sam,
why not? Because why not? Let's chuck it in there.
God.
I chuck it in there. Yeah, for me, a keeper didn't move. I don't think it affected kind of what happened. I get if he wasn't there, then yeah, the keeper would be in a different position. But I just love goals, Grimmy. I can't.
I mean, you've got plenty of them. You've got 4, 5, 3, 4, 4 all over the place. Like, come on, no double Desmonds, but
I'm greedy. It's Christmas. It's allowed to believe. You've got obviously where we did have goals and say very rare that we don't get someone scored a hat-trick and we don't get to mention their game because there's just so many goals. But Kevin Schade hadn't scored in God knows how long and he popped up and got 3. London Buses again, 4-1 against Leicester City. Of course, Leicester City now stepping into play with the wonderful Ruud van Nistelrooy. It'd be rude not to mention the new manager of Leicester City. Of course, he's in there with his turtlenecks in his coat. So Leicester City, I'm sure, will be one that Grimmy and I will be taking a particular interest in now from this moment.
Yeah, definitely.
With the absolute legends. We've got there. Heather thinks it was a bit dodgy, and she says that, Grimmy, as a Bournemouth fan about the Saints goal. So there you go. And Simon's used 2 poo emojis to describe it, so it must have been bad for the double poo, the double Desmond poo emoji. Elsewhere, we had Crystal Palace 1, Newcastle 1. Very, very late goal. Gahey. It was all about Mark Gahey, which was funny enough because Newcastle were trying to buy him in the summer. So we had the own goal, and then we had the assist for the equaliser for Palace. So 1-1 for them. Newcastle were another one, funny one at the minute, hanging around mid-table, kind of can't get a little run together.
Yeah,
we've got Nottingham Forest winning a game again. Chris Wood, as we mentioned, Grimmy, back on the score sheet.
My guy.
Doing the business. He's the guy. You can't keep a good man from scoring. And another loss for Ipswich. So Ipswich still remain in that relegation zone, but it's getting quite tight down there. It's very tight indeed. Very tight indeed. We've also we've done all those next 4. So the only one we haven't talked about as well, Tottenham 1, Fulham 1. And as we said, I think from the sublime to the ridiculous, this is probably somewhere in the middle because Fulham are a decent side, but can't seem to back up. Every time they've had a really buzzing result, they can't get that next win, can't just get over the line and kind of do it. And a 1-1 draw. So that keeps Tottenham and Fulham both kind of close as well in the kind of mid-table area. So that is the Premier League. Liverpool are top. Yes, they're top. They're 9 points clear. It's quite a gap. But, 25 games. Can live in hope, Rebecca. Can live in hope. Things can change. Things can happen. But at the minute, they look very dominant and deservingly, sadly, off being top of the table. Arsenal, Chelsea, Brighton still up there doing really well. Manchester City in 5th. Look at those 4 L's. Isn't it a beautiful sight? What a beautiful sight to see dropping like a stone. And all we need now is those charges to drop down as well. And it could be an unbelievable season. Could be an unbelievable season. And Forest 6th, Tottenham 7th, Brentford. And look who's in 9th with positive goal difference for the first time in about 12 months. +4. It's gone. It's crazy. It's crazy. What a time. What a time to be alive. What a
Thanks,
time.
Rebecca.
It always happens. I mean, we played Brentford. They're on like their worst run away. They pick up a point at Everton. You've had a negative goal difference, and now you've got positive. We just like helping teams out. Just
too nice. That's the problem. I'd never thought I'd describe a Sean Dyche team as being too nice, but that is what's happening. You're being far too nice, I think, to the teams around them. And there we go. And of course, yes, and it comes in and tells us, of course, Chris Wood, the Woodsman, is now the joint top Premier League goal scorer on 24 goals for Nottingham Forest, sharing it with the legendary Brian Roy. So that's no mean feat at all for them. I love that. I didn't know the Woodsman. What a nickname that is. That's something beautiful on its own. But what is also beautiful is European football. We're going to go round the European football and some of the highlights that have gone on this weekend. It's over, Rebecca. It's over. You can breathe. You can breathe. A sigh of relief.
Oh no, and we're getting prepared for Scottish Prem.
Yeah.
My happy time.
Another happy time with Rebecca coming up.
Was there any doubt what she was preparing for there, Sam? Let's be honest.
This was it. I thought she was a Las Palmas fan all of a sudden because Las Palmas beat Barcelona. Barcelona have had a bit of a dip. The last few weeks, it's gone a bit awry. Lamine Yamal's out at the minute, and everything doesn't seem to be going so well. Lost at home as well, which is sneakily letting Real Madrid back into the gap that they had put in earlier this season. So Real Madrid beating Getafe 2-0, obviously off the back of that result against Liverpool in midweek. Barcelona yet not so good. Mallorca beat Valencia. Valencia are bang in trouble. They are well down out there at the minute, struggling, still in 19th. So that was a bad loss. Benny fan Chris says La Liga is this that may have finished. Sevilla 1, Osasuna 1. Yes, I can't wait until all these games finish in. I have to work, unfortunately, on a Monday. So what happens at the end of Sunday? It's what you see. It's what you see. It's what you get. That's what you get. I can't, unfortunately. I've written to La Liga and said, please change the timings around my life. And they haven't responded. So that's nothing but rude. Elsewhere, Atletico Madrid, they beat Real Valladolid 5-0 for Atletico Madrid. They're sneaking their way into the old race, aren't they? 4 wins in a row. Diego Simeone. Can't put it past him. A Desmond between Villarreal and Girona. My Girona, your Girona, our Girona. Not quite the heights of last season, but they're still not doing too bad in 7th place this season. And elsewhere, we've got Espanyol. Espanyol got a victory 4-1 at Celta Vigo, so they're on the verge of getting out of the relegation zone. That is, in a nutshell, pretty much La Liga. And Graham makes a superb point. So annoying that real life has to get in the way of football podcast fun. Isn't that true? Isn't that so very true? Now, Italy, not to be honest, going to talk too much about the games, because of course there was that horrific incident in the Fiorentina game, and we wish all our best thoughts as well to Bove, the Eduardo Bove, who went down. And last I'd seen, was still kind of in critical condition in hospital, suspended the match between. I think have I got that? No, I've not got that right. I think they're supposed to be Inter Milan, I think, wasn't it? I've missed. I think because I was sort of looking at that while I was doing it, I've messed the graphics up a little bit there. But it was Fiorentina Inter Milan. So sad for them. We did have a draw for Udinese, for Lecce and Juventus. So good result for Lecce. But thoughts with the Fiorentina player and everybody involved in that one. So we'll skip a little bit of Serie A this week because it doesn't feel right to kind of go too much into the other games. Benny Fan says alive and alert was the latest update. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that's more promising news. So we'll go over to Germany. We'll go over to the Bundesliga. And we did have Dortmund, Bayern Munich, der Klassiker, as they like to call it. Harry Kane's injured, Grimmy. Injured. Hamstring, apparently. Can he believe it? He went down. Looks like they didn't think it was too bad, but now they're saying possibly might not be seen until the new year, which ties nicely with coming back to England for Christmas. A few weeks off. It's not a bad time to get injured, surely, if you're going to do it. Bit of festivities.
Bayern Munich are going to win the league anyway. In like the February, March time, so go back home to Brazil for a month. Yeah.
This is it. He was like, stuff it. We're going to go for it. And of course, the Borussia Dortmund goal scored, was it Gittins, the young English lad, the under-21 guy? He was the guy that scored for Dortmund. So another Englishman scoring in that game. And Dortmund managed to hold Bayern Munich, only the third time this season they've stopped. Graham says we need voice notes from Josh saying all the team notes when he's not on the show. I know. Wouldn't it be brilliant if you could just have that?
No.
You could just have it, just press it at any time. It's a bit like when you get a text message.
Listen to the old podcast and you've got the voice notes there.
So you can do it. Once you've heard Josh say "Well, Wick," you'll never ever leave your head. It will be there. It will be there forever. That will be it. Elsewhere, you had St. Pauli, not very poorly this weekend because they beat Hosted Kiel 3-1. Hey, good win for them. That takes them out of the relegation zone. I think a good win for them. Augsburg beat Bochum. Bochum are still bottom, 2 points. It's not a great tally. I'm going to be honest with you. 2 points of 12 games, not a great tally. Freiburg beat Mönchengladbach, so they move up to 6th place. Hungry like the wolf for Wolfsburg, 5-1. 5-1 against RB Leipzig. 5 goals they've smashed in. That's a really good win away at Leipzig. Leipzig up in 4th and Wolfsburg with a win. They've been on a little bit of a run. Nice to get Wolfsburg up. I remember before Edin Dzeko went to City and they had Dzeko and Graffiti up front. That was an absolute partnership they had in there.
Michael Owen hat-trick in the Champions League against Wolfsburg. Those were the days, man. Those were the days, Sam. Bring those days back. That's what I say.
This is it. It's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong since then. Union Berlin, they lost to Leverkusen, so Leverkusen's win keeps them in 3rd place, but they are 7 points behind Bayern Munich at the moment. We've got Werder Bremen and Stuttgart in a Desmond. Mainz beat Hoffenheim 2-0, and Heidenheim 4-0 loss at home to Frankfurt. Not so good. Not so good indeed. What's next? Of course, it is Dutch. We've gone over to the Netherlands. It is the Eredivisie, where PSV are just PSVing the league over there. Just another 5 goals just to add their tally to 50. 50 so far this season.
50 goals already. Good Lord.
Just 50 in 14 games. Just the plus 39 goal difference for them.
Yeah.
Not too bad for them by this point of time. So they are absolutely storming it. They are ahead of Ajax. 2 goals from who scored 2 goals for Ajax, Grimmy? Wout Weghorst.
Hey!
Double
he
for
knows
Weghorst.
Where the back of the net is.
The man that when it comes to the Netherlands knows how to score. Wout Weghorst, there he is. He's done the business. Spenny Fancus, he wants to give PSV the title now. Does want to give PSV the title now. I think it's looking pretty good. going to be honest. Not going to lie with you. Looking pretty good. Heerenveen won. Warwick won. Warwick are still in the relegation zone, but they're ahead of Almere City, who lost to NAC Breda. They lost 1-0 to them. Groningen versus Willem, 2-0 for Groningen. And elsewhere, other results. Twente beat Go Ahead Eagles 3-2. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And Utrecht, despite that 5-2 loss to PSV, they're in third. A little bit of a surprise outfit, Utrecht up there. Very, very lovely for them indeed. I won't try and match Josh's because I can't. You just can't hit that level of pronunciation when it comes to the Netherlands. I'm sure the Dutch might not agree, but the people of the podcast do agree. It's all very good. And here we are. Yes, of course. Yeah, I haven't taken PSG off the top, but we know where they are. It's up there. They drew at the weekend, actually, against Nîmes. They drew against Nîmes. Which is exactly what I think of these PSG Mo Salah rumours. They're absolutely nonsense. I can't see it. But you've got PSG with the win. You've got to win 5-0 for Rennes over Saint Etienne. 5-0 for them. And has anybody been seeing this coverage on the Champions League with Micah Richards and Jamie Carragher over Brest?
Yes.
Not been funny. I think we've been doing that a little while. I feel like you know
they've taken it from us. Is that what you're saying?
This is what happened. You know, we had Nice above Brest last year. We had Brest bottom of the table. We had all the puns. All the puns have lined up, and it's it's there for the taking. But they're not a bad side at the same time with a 3-1 win. Not so great in the division so far this season, but they're doing all right in the Champions League. They beat Strasbourg. That was a 3-1 victory for Brest. You've got Montpellier 2, Lille 2, another Desmond. No double Desmonds, but we've got a few Desmonds around Europe this week. Le Havre lost to Angers. Olympique Lyon, who have been struggling, they are now they're back up into 5th. They beat Nice. Toulouse, they didn't lose this week. 2-0 against Angers for Toulouse. And Olympique Marseille 2. AS Monaco 1 as well between 2nd and 3rd. An absolute belter. And Spenny Van Chris comes in with a Coupe de France round of 64. Bordeaux 2 versus, I presume, Les Herbiers. Les Herbiers? Is that what we're going with that? I'm going with Les Herbiers. Good win for the team in the cup. So there we go. There's France. And Rebecca is ready because I think we're about to go up north somewhere that can be quite chilly at times, but not
Newcastle.
But not when Ryan Astley is playing, because it is, of course, the Scottish Premier League. And Rebecca, what's going on in the Scottish Premier League? Have Dundee won the title yet?
Unfortunately not. But this is my treat for being on. Speaking United, Everton, and Liverpool, that I get to talk Dundee. They have just done the 4th round of the Scottish Cup, in which Dundee have got Dundee.
Oh God!
Ooh.
It's the Dundee derby, so that'll be an interesting one in the
dun.
So Kilmarnock won, Dundee won. Ryan Astley returned to the starting 11 and played a full 90 again, so I was very happy about that. Dundee did start positively. They did have a few chances that did challenge Kilmarnock, including Simon Murray, who had an open goal. So Dundee crossed it in. All he had to do was a little tap and it was in. It went behind him and he nearly fell over. So that was that. It was a first half full of chances from both sides. Kilmarnock did challenge John McCracken with a free kick, but he caught it well. It is quite funny the fact that Dundee's current keeper was also on loan at Accrington, so they've got 2 ex-Aki loanees. That's a fun fact for the day. The Kilmarnock did continue to push, but there wasn't anything too challenging for McCracken. Dundee did take the lead in the 71st minute with a very well-worked goal from Lyle Cameron. And I've mentioned this many times on the podcast when I get to talk Dundee. He is an incredible player and has stepped up massively with the loss of Luke McCowan. So he's doing really well. And it was a very well-worked goal. It was annoying. Kilmarnock did equalise, and it was one that could have been defended. a cross that came in, and I'd say all the Dundee player had to do was kick the ball, and he just stood there dancing behind the Kilmarnock player. So it was a nice back heel from Kyle Vassell to set up the substitute of Bobby Wales to equalise for Kilmarnock. They could have won it, but an incredible save from McCracken to save the point. It was a back pass, not reaching the keeper. Capitalised on it, saved it, open goal, and in brilliant deflection off Dundee's defence. So it was an annoying one for Dundee. I did think they could go on and win it, but then Kilmarnock could have also won it. So next up for Dundee is Motherwell on Wednesday. So let's hope for another 90 minutes for Ryan.
This is it. It's positive. It's all positive now. We're in the positive section of the podcast. And Graham is praising our insights. Our tactical analysis is what makes this podcast award-winning. Football player needs to kick ball deep inside on the podcast. Exactly, Graham. It's what you come for. It's what you come for. And Graham also says have to make in the long 50-yard walk for Dundee United across the road for the fourth round cup game. It's a hideous journey for them. But the Scottish League is making me sad, Rebecca. And I'll tell you why it's making me sad. Because Big Shanks, the podcast favourite Big Shanks, is struggling. He's struggling. And I feel for the Shanks. Ever since he's gone to the Euros last summer, it just hasn't been the same. I was looking 24 goals in 36 games last season, 1 goal in 15 this season. And Hearts are obviously having not a lovely start of the season. So Big Shanks, believe in yourself, because we believe in you. It can happen. It can happen, Big Shanks. And we will turn it around. As Shah says, Shanks, he needs us, Shah. He needs us. Big Shanks needs the Big Shanks love to get Hearts out of this. And I believe it can happen. Believe it can happen. And it makes me sad too.
A draw against Aberdeen is pretty decent for Hearts. Aberdeen have been a high-flying team, and they have been a very strong one to come up against. So to be able to get a draw off them is really good. I am a bit gutted Aberdeen have fallen off a bit, because I was really hoping for a random Aberdeen challenge at the top of the table. Like, the fight for the league was between Celtic and Aberdeen. Like, that just would have been amazing, but it hasn't panned out that way. Dundee United are doing well sitting in fourth. I do have to give them that, a newly promoted side. They have taken it on very well. It'll just be interesting to see if it is just the promotion bounce that they've got and whether it'll carry on. But it does seem to be doing that at the minute.
This is it. There's some teams up there, some mixing it around. So Celtic are going to win the league. We kind of know they've only conceded, was it 4 goals? That's ridiculous. And you've got Rangers. Rangers are still behind Aberdeen by a fair bit. So we'll see how that one pans out. But Graham says need to back out Celtic. Their goals for and against is ridiculous. It's only 40, Graham. PSV have got 50. What are they up to? You know what I mean? There's levels to this game, and PSV are setting the standard. So we could learn something over them. But no, it's looking like a very good season again for Celtic. And
we can't put Celtic off though, because Luke McCowan now plays for them, and we need to give him a bit of a nice shout out on the podcast. He is a good player. True. So that's the only reason we can't cut Celtic off, is because of him.
There's also not as many teams in the Scottish League, so it just makes the graphic too small. It's harder to do. It's harder to do. There's only 12 teams in the league. But we've done it all. We've been round Europe. We've done the whole lot. We've done Premier League. Fantastic. We've had a wonderful time. We've had smiles amongst difficult results, but Rebecca's been through it, and she's got a wonderful FA Cup draw to give the positivity. So everything is looking good off of that. And while I try and find where the other bit that I will need in a minute is, Rebecca, where can everybody find you? Rebecca with the underscores, where can they find you?
Crying over Everton on Wednesday. And still celebrating Aki's FA Cup draw. But you can find me here, _Rebecca, _shot_, and that is on Twitter and TikTok. My Twitter is very Aki dominated at the moment, sharing the Josh Woods video. You can find my Her Game 2 content at ASFC Her Game 2. And then anything F1 related with the last race of the season coming up this weekend is with Jen at Girls in the Grandstand.
There we go. Check Rebecca out on all of those things. And of course, where if you're like, I need some Grimmy. It's that time of day where I just need some Grimmy. Where can we find a Grimmy?
First off, poor you if that's your thought process. Second of all, head over to YouTube and search Saint Grimmy, and you'll find my gaming channel where I do a lot of sports games content and starting to peek into the other side of the gaming sphere with some other stuff. At the minute, we've got an F1 Manager series going on with Aston Martin, doing a bit of a rebuild with them. Boxing series where I've just been beaten for the first time, so that's always fun to watch me lose, and plenty of other stuff to catch up on. So yeah, just catch us up over there, and then I'm Grimmy16 on Twitter if you want to follow me on, or X if you want to call it that.
No, Twitter. Always
Twitter. None of this X nonsense. And yeah, that's about it really.
There we are. You can check Grimmy out all those wonderful places. And if you want to, you can check me out at Sam Absolute FBL, where I'm doing stuff. Don't know what that stuff is, but I'll be doing it. That's what I can guarantee. Probably just tweeting about football-y bits. I'm going to do some more TikToks. I am at Sam Absolute FBL and EFL on there, depending if I'm doing Premier League or EFL to separate the two. But I need to find some time to do it. I'd like to do some more. Sean wants to know, Grimmy, any Spenny Chris's sub to your channel? Is that lovely? Numbers going up. And any FM content, and say me and you know what's going on with FM, but others might not. What's going on with FM 25, Grimmy? Because it's a bit of a, I'll swear for the first time on the podcast after 10, it's a shit show. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So FM was supposed to come out like beginning of last week. That was the official FM 25 release date. It was the 26th of November. It got delayed into like I think it's the end of March. They've said now, so there won't be any FM content on there for a little while. But once the new game comes, there will be some. I did a series a couple of years ago with Blythe Spartans and got them promoted in the first season, not to big myself up too much. And then I think I did a season with Leon in the beta for the game, but got sacked at the end of the season because I didn't get them in the Champions League spots. So bit of a sketchy history with Football Manager in my YouTube channel, but it will be back at some point in March, I would imagine, when the new game releases. I tend to try and do them as the games are coming out, and then have one series with them whilst they're in the early months of the releases to try and obviously try those games out. So yeah, but there will be some in the near future.
There we go. It will happen. It will happen. They will listen. Heather stuff say, yeah, there's her game 2 shirt in it this year when it does drop. And I think I did. If I'm right, Heather, I think EA as well. EA 25's got her game 2 shirt in it as well. I think. Rebecca is giving me the nod. She said, yes, correct.
Yeah. Well, FM 25. Obviously, the big feature of it this year is the women's football leagues are in there this time. Mm-hmm. So I would expect a lot of content creators around the FM sphere will do a lot of women's saves straight out the bat, which would be great to see and see how that plays and if there's much difference to the men's side. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll be definitely doing a Man United save with the women's team, try and get them that first title on the women's side. But yeah,
it's needed to be done. We need to get Paul from the women's show doing a women's Football Manager. I think that could be absolute gold. I reckon. I think sacking players, actual press conferences. It could be electric.
Absolute television. Football Podcast Network save. That's what I'm hearing. That's the headline right there.
That is gonna mean I can't work anymore. That's what needs to happen for that to
happen. Rebecca gets Everton, and we see how she would fix them.
You'll turn it on, and there'll just be random Aki players just dotted here, there, and everywhere, like Seb Quirk's back at Everton.
Yeah.
That's to be fair. Last time I was playing Football Manager, Grimmy, I did mention to Rebecca, and then all of a sudden I'd get a text with some random Accrington player to buy for my Brighton side in the Premier League.
So way to do it.
This is the way to do it. But of course, the main way to do it is with the podcast. The Absolute Football Podcast. That is us. I know we're going to keep talking about it because it happened. We were the best new content creators at the Full Content Awards. It did happen. I can confirm I was there. I saw it. I still don't quite believe it, but it was there. There are videos of it, so I have to believe it. It did happen. And with all these smiling faces, we do need to get a Grimmy one in there. We need to get Grimmy's beautiful face in there to join all this rowdy rabble that
You
are
don't want to ruin it, mate. To be fair,
Dead
I don't blame you. Yeah. Over Josh's face, just like right next to Josh.
Yeah,
like,
we could just ping you up right at the start, that sort of front bit, shouldn't we? Yeah, there we go, right at that front section. We are the Absolute Football Podcast. We do have 3 shows a week. We have Absolute Premier League, Absolute Women's Football, and Absolutely Lower League. Now, there is a slight change the next couple of weeks because it is Christmas, stuff's going on, people have things going on, it's difficult, but we don't want to miss the content to you. So for the next 2 weeks, the Premier League show is going to be on a Tuesday. We will make sure you will remember it. The Tuesday. I'm going to keep it a Tuesday. It's going to be on next 2 weeks, the Premier League show, 8:30 as usual, bringing you the same as we usually do. And then our women's football show will be on a Wednesday. Absolutely women's football with Freya and Team Chaos will be there. And on Thursday, Absolutely Lower League with Shah and the Rowdy Rabble. And there's so much to cover this week because it's FA Cup, there was Championship, there was double game week, I think it's absolutely all going on, and there'll be plenty on Thursday to cover. But you can catch us. You can catch us on Twitter at Absolute Ball Pod. On YouTube, we're of course Absolute Football Podcast, as we are on Twitch. TikTok, Absolute Football Pod. Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast _. Blue Sky, we do a bit of blue skying, which is lovely over there. It's all very peaceful at Blue Sky. I like a bit of blue sky. At Absolute Football, we are on that one. And on Facebook, the Absolute Football Podcast as well. Wow, so many places, so many things to make you happy. But thank you to you guys, and thank you, of course, to all our wonderful people in the chat. It is lovely to have you here with us, and thank you for joining us again for another wonderful Monday show. The guys will catch you on Wednesday. We will catch you at some point. Rebecca, it's going to be okay. Sorry, Rebecca. I think to follow the theme of the pod, we believe. Grimmy, we believe. I believe. We believe in you. Have a lovely time, and we'll catch you on the next one. Ciao for now.
Ciao.